Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout-out to...
Something else.
Something else, Daddy.
This is Nickel Matara, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
And welcome to episode number 291 of Something Else. Feast your hair holes on this week's episode. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Kelly Kiniski to my Edcar Boo Thomas. It's that cocksucker, Trae. Trae, how the hell are you doing today?
Cocksucker? What am I, Roddy Piper's manservant?
I didn't know you were Johnny Fairplay. Ladies and gentlemen, this motherfucker. So, might as well get some programming news out of the way. It's only the two of us this week. Lizzy Flanagan, had some personal issues, so she's not going to be with us this week. So we're going to try to get her on for next week. So that's when we push the David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions 2. And so this week we needed something to watch. So we watched Mid-South from May 4th, 1985. And ladies and gentlemen, I was ready to just call it a day. I was happy to be like, okay, we'll just watch the one show this week and, call it a day. And then Trae messaged me. And Trae messaged me yesterday in real life and said, I have an idea. I found something else for us to watch. And he's like, this is something we've talked about before, but we've never watched before. And I'm not looking forward to it, but I think we need to watch it once. And my head is just like, what the hell is he talking about? He's talking about WWF Championship Wrestling. Is he talking about TNT, Tuesday Night Titans? Are we going to watch Tuesday Night Titans on the show? No. Are we going to watch Lucha Underground? Maybe. We've talked about doing Lucha Underground. No. Maybe Ohio Valley. We've talked about Ohio Valley before. No, not doing any of that either. Trae somehow managed to find the Fort Worth show. The 2-hour world-class championship wrestling show that aired Saturday nights, I think at 10:35 or something like that, local time. 2 hours from the Will Rogers Coliseum in Fort Worth, Texas. It is the day before the David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions, and we watched that fucking show.
Okay, so here's the part that you don't know is that this is Lizzy Flanagan's fault. Because as you have recently, I was reading I Am Your Champion, The Life and Death of Wrestler Gino Hernandez. And we've often mentioned the mysterious Fort Worth TV that we know existed, but we haven't seen. And I didn't know how to find it, and I've never seen it clearly labeled anywhere. But the book mentioned that it was Championship Sports on KTVT, which allowed me to search on YouTube Championship Sports on KTVT. And it's not like every episode, but it's a smattering of, the whole mid-'80s period. And I would not have done it because Arya suggested a couple of things, including World Championship Wrestling or WWF Championship Wrestling. I countered with maybe All Japan or Memphis, but I just happened to look and they had the episode of Championship Sports for this week that we were missing, the syndicated Dallas show. And as Arya said, I thought that we would not be doing our due diligence as world-class reviewers if we did not review one episode of this program.
As world-class historians.
Yes.
Oh Lord. So yeah, that we got that to look forward to. And it's a show, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2 hours, hosted by drunk Mark Lawrence.
Who was remarkably lucid. Maybe he only
Maybe drinks on Mondays? Or
maybe
every
he
other
hates
Monday?
maybe he hates ring announcing, so he only gets shit faced before the Dallas show.
Oh God. I just saw a article of drunk Mark Lawrence leaving wrestling after 10 years to go into the ministry. And it's like, and the article's like, oh, he couldn't do both, be a minister and do wrestling commentary at the same time. So he chose to leave wrestling.
Did he
Which
not do both at the same time? When did he leave
apparently
wrestling?
not. 1990, I read
Okay,
correctly.
well,
Yeah. It was when it was the USWA already, so that would have been no earlier than 1989.
so he he didn't have that much of a choice.
No, no. I mean, I can't believe Jerry Jarrett was going to pay him much to do the wrestling commentary.
Who
So
did they use? I've never seen it. Who did they use for the USWA Dallas TV? You know?
I don't know, no clue.
Huh.
I mean, yeah, I anything would be a guess and a wild guess at that. Like honestly, I'm not looking forward to Mercer leaving because
Yeah,
Mercer leaves when what's his name leaves? Ken Mantell. Because
yeah. I
Ken
think it's in
Mantell
'87.
really I thought it was 86. But either way, Mantell leaves to do an outlaw group, Wild West Wrestling, and takes a bunch of people with him. And
Yeah, we're not watching that. Even
we're
if
not
we find it,
we're not watching Wild West Wrestling.
that's
Or
the line. Look,
oh,
I've even I
almost
will watch fucking Ozark Mountain Wrestling from Arkansas first
almost
before
assuredly Johnny Mantell becomes the world champion of Wild West Wrestling.
I.
Oh God. Do you remember Global, the Global Wrestling Federation?
I'm aware of it. I've never really seen any of it.
I always laughed that their main title of the Global Wrestling Federation was the North American title.
Well, that's just silly. I mean, it's right there. That should be the global title, right?
You would think so. I mean, they renamed the Sportatorium the Global Dome.
Globe Dome.
It's funny. We're talking as if we don't have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah, we probably should because we do have 2 fucking hours of world class TV to talk about.
And the two amazing botched spots, too. All right, let's go to the intro. Mid-South. This is Mid-South Wrestling, May 4th, 1985. Let's go to the intro. And JR and Joel apparently know that we're, short for time this week because this is a really short intro by Mid-South standards.
To another exciting hour of Mid-South Wrestling. I'm Jim Ross, and along with Joel Watts, we'll be calling the action, ladies and gentlemen. A tremendous hour. And Joel, tell the fans exactly what they're going to see today. It's a tremendous hour.
Well, we got a great lineup of matches for you. All the top stars are here. We got superstar Bill Dundee and Terry Taylor taking on the Dirty White Boys. But to kick it all off, we've got a great main event for you. Brad Armstrong will be taking on Jake the Snake Roberts in the semifinal round of the TV title tournament. I'll tell you, there's so much to talk about. We may as well just go right to the ring right now.
There's so much to talk about. We're not going to talk about any of it. I got to say, both these shows we talk about have a very suspect definition of main event. As we'll get to it with World Class, but the main event seen anywhere in the country kicks off Mid-South this week. It's Brad Armstrong versus Jake the Snake Roberts in the 6th round of the television tournament for a medal and $10,000. Now, as we mentioned on this show a number of times, the bracket really favored young Bradley Armstrong. Bradley James, Robert James, I believe, is his shoot name, as his friends call him, Robert James. And we debated whether or not, this was showing abject favoritism towards Brad Armstrong. But it turns out that was not, it was the exact opposite. Because, he hasn't been on the show in over a month, whereas Jake Roberts has been on the show every week, wrestling, put his nose to the grind, and, and Brad Armstrong is almost rusty. And he came in here, and despite getting a bye through the first 5 rounds of the tournament, he lost. Yeah. He lost clean.
This is pretty cool. Decent little match. Jake got some heat, and then Brad made a comeback. And then it was like Brad had the sleeper, and Jake hit the ropes and fell back to break it, which was a simple spot, which is pretty neat. It's like the precursor of the WrestleMania 8 spot where Brett turned into a pin on Piper, but it was just falling back to break it. And I just always think that's a simple but brilliant spot.
I wrote that he used that as an offensive maneuver.
Yeah. And Jake did an inverted atomic drop that did a lot of damage, and then won with the DDT.
Biased Joel Watts yelled, "Come on, Brad!" while Jake was, going towards the finish.
Blatant favoritism is repulsive.
Also, not the worst bout of favoritism we will see on this week's program.
No.
I was worried though, because Brad Armstrong, he teases having facial hair at times. Sometimes he has a little bit of a beard, sometimes he's clean shaven. He was clean shaven this week, and that was for the best, because in this match you had 2 white guys with brown curly hair and red tights. I was worried we wouldn't be able to tell them apart if he had facial hair.
Yeah, Brad could never quite commit to the beard.
Yeah. I wrote that when Brad had Jake grounded with a hammerlock, referee Ronnie West walked by and almost stepped on Jake's hand. If this was David Manning Von Erich and it was an NWA title match, he would have blatantly stepped on Flair's whole arm.
Ricky Flair?
Yes, Ricky Flair. I'm sad that Ricky Flair did not make an appearance on this week's program.
Too bad.
Yes.
He was discussed.
Yes, he was. I'm afraid what's going to happen to poor Ricky Flair, because the odds are stacked against him tomorrow night at Texas Stadium.
I think so, yeah.
Well, tomorrow afternoon, I guess. It says a 3 p.m. start time. So Brickhouse Brown versus Tommy Pritchard. I don't know why, but I was distracted by the ring attendant who had giant buck teeth. And it just distracted the hell out of me during this one. We're told that Pritchard has a new strategy, which is to use his head. And that's a risky strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off. Turns out the answer is no. He tried to use his head to block Brickhouse's diving headbutt. But what can Brown do for you? He can win a match.
Brickhouse Brown is better at using his head than Tommy Pritchard is.
Yes. I'll be honest, I was expecting as a follow-up to last week that Tommy Pritchard would walk off at some point. But they didn't even tease it. I was like, well, maybe they'll tease it and Brickhouse will pull him in or something. Nope. After walking out of doing a job for Dugan last week, Tommy Pritchard is staring at the lights this week. 1, 2, 3.
Well, the Dugan didn't use his head appropriately.
That is true. All right. Steve Casey, and not the first and only, the first, but not the only time we'll see him this week, versus Edcar Boo Thomas.
Okay, I want to preface this. Okay, this match, bell to bell, went 1 minute and 21 seconds. So we're going to describe a spot that was essentially the one spot of the match.
Yeah.
Do you want to describe the spot, or would you like me to describe the spot?
So, tomorrow night on the TNA show.
Oh, dear.
Cindy and I are going to discuss Desire versus Trinity.
Oh no.
That match is atrocious. And that match is better than this match.
Oh my god. And here's the thing. Okay? Steve Casey is very, very good. In fact, we're going to see on this show that a guy who looks a lot like Steve Casey was a very good wrestler. But this, our friend and Dr. Death's protege, Edcar Boo Thomas here.
And it's funny because, like, I think you warned me, but like it was kind of like a surreptitious warning.
Yes.
But so the match begins. It's like, okay, it's a very good, talented, technical wrestler against someone who's had a dozen matches in his career. So it's like, okay, it's a little snug, it's a little sloppy, but nothing notable. Then Steve Casey runs off the ropes, and Edcar ducks down for a back body drop, and Doc is supposed to trip Steve Casey, and Doc misses. And I'm like, oh boy, that's going to be a spot to talk about on the show tonight. Doc's supposed to trip Steve Casey and missed. Well, then Dr. Death jumps up on the apron. And now, Trey, you and I tweeted this out. You've never ran the ropes, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Now, I can tell you as an abject failure at wrestling training, running the ropes is really not that hard. You know, sometimes you have to hit it in the right way. It takes a little bit, but honestly, you hit the ropes, they bounce you back. It's really not that difficult. Steve Casey shot Edcar Boo Thomas off. And the next thing we saw was not Steve Casey, but Ed Thomas's feet.
Yeah. Oh, amazing shot. Great camera work.
Like, there's part of me that wishes we had like the right camera shot of the one like with like behind Ed Boo Thomas as he's hitting the ropes, but instead we got like that direct shot on the ring, and you see Edcar Boo Thomas running off towards the ropes, and you suddenly see his foot fly up in the air because Edcar Boo Thomas hit the ropes and fell between them. He fell between the top and middle rope, legs straight up in the air. And Steve Casey's looking at him. Referee Alfred Neely is looking at him. Dr. Death, who jumped up on the other side of the apron to do the next spot, just looked at him. And now Joel Watts is a very inexperienced announcer. But however, I do not know if there was a way to save this. Because he just flat out said that Edcar Boo Thomas fell between the ropes. And
I wonder what JR would have said had Joel given him a minute.
Then Edcar was thrown into Doc, and at least he did that right. And Casey pinned him with a crossbody.
I did not look, but I wonder if this was an Edcar Boo Thomas Leafstown match.
It's not.
Oh, dear.
I did look. Because I'm like, there is a world where this is Edcar's last match, not just in the territory, but all of wrestling. Not sure what world that is, but it's not the one we live in.
Because he does not stay at it long.
No.
So if that's not the end, what the fuck is?
Now, I don't know what happens. I don't know. Maybe he, went back to OU for a little bit. He does take the next 5 weeks off before coming back for one last hurrah in Mid-South, before finishing out his career in the territory where legends go to die, Central States.
See, it could have been worse. I could have had us watch Central States TV.
Is that even on YouTube?
Probably.
But Doc was quite upset. I'd like to think it was a cross between what we're going to see from him in a second and a cross between just his protege. His protege really shit the bed on this one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's funny because like when I was talking about the Desire Trinity match tomorrow, I said that it would not have been out of place in a 2010 WWE Divas match. Like you could totally see this match with Kelly and Alicia Fox standing in the corners. Like that was the quality of the match.
Oh, TNA has its share of those wretched, like, untrained women's matches.
I mean, the thing is, like, they didn't actually botch any spots. It was just a low-level indie match being held on national television. Kind of. Yeah. But yeah, Edcar Boo Thomas, there's a reason we had no memory of this man when he appeared on our TV the first time.
Should we induct this spot into the Something Else Hall of This Sucks?
I was thinking that, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I mean, the Hall of This Sucks is usually like, well, I guess we inducted Hans Schroeder for being the worst wrestler of all day this week. Sure. Let's put Edcar Boo Thomas falling through the ropes. Keep in
Okay.
mind, we're not inducting Edcar Boo Thomas. We're inducting him falling through the ropes.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna fight for it because I've got one that I'm gonna fight harder for on Thursday. But
Oh,
yeah, if you agree,
I guess I haven't watched it yet.
if you agree, we can go ahead and do that.
All right, so let's see here. So what do we want to say for? I wrote Edcar Boo Thomas falling through the ropes on Mid-South, May 4, 1985. Do we want to do a 4 thing or?
I don't know. I just put LOL.
Inducted May 4th, 2026
Oh,
for LOL.
May the 4th be with you.
And also with you. Happy Cinco de Cuatro. Make sure to push Lucille Ostero down a stair car, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I'm excited because I've got some people meeting up for margaritas, and I can't really drink margaritas because I always have to drive, but I can't eat burritos, so I'm excited for that.
Oh, and this is tomorrow, of course.
Yes.
Now just make sure to not assault La Parca, even if, especially if you have a world title match coming up, because then another fake La Parca may attack you.
What if can I attack LA Park?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll proceed with caution.
It's obvious somebody at TNA is going through their Nitro tapes because we're going to have at least three fake La Parcas over the next few months.
Oh, really? There was a fake La Parca on TNA?
Yeah. First, this week on TNA, Spellbinder was the fake La Parca who cut a backstage promo with Armando Quintero where they gave the wrong date for the America's X Cup. And then Chris Harris came out at the end of the show as another fake La Parca to beat up Raven because Raven beat up the first fake La Parca.
So Chris Harris has been a fake Sting, a fake La Parca, and Braden Walker, who was a fake Chris Harris.
Poor Chris Harris. He's gonna knock your brains in, So Dr. Death is quite upset. Quite. Let's go to a promo he has with JR and Joel.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next match is in the ring, but before we start that match, Steve, Dr.
I've
Death,
got
please.
a few words to say, Jim Ross. You know, this pencil neck Englishman comes in here, thinks he can beat my protege. You know, I'm really disappointed in my protege. Get 1, 2, 3 from an Englishman. You know, I've tried to teach Edcar Boo Thomas everything I know. But let me tell you something. You Englishmen, I don't know what you got going for you here in the USA. But let me tell you something. I'll take you right out here in the square circle, and I'll beat you 1, 2, 3 with the Oklahoma Stampede. Let me tell you one thing, Englishman. When you get in that ring, you better think twice before you get in that ring.
Well, those comments, Dr. Death, trying to tear up our desk, everything else. The challenge has been made, and now let's go to...
So what the hell does Dr. Death have against Chris Adams? They're literally teammates on the other show. Well, the other show last week or sometime recently.
I just Doc is disappointed in his protege, and I think we can all sympathize with that because I think we're all disappointed in his protege.
Yes. Trey, there have been times where you have doubted how good you are at being my protege here on the podcast. Um, I must say that as a podcast co-host protege, you were much better of a protege than Edcar Boo Thomas.
I didn't realize I was a protege.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to train you so one day you can take over and,
Take over what?
I don't know. The listener may want to hear you by yourself.
Oh, it was like my own version of the Vinny V Sports Report.
There you go. We get somebody call in with a relay call to piss you off and end the show.
I just ramble about Japanese wrestling.
There you go. Especially since, like, I can only imagine you trying to do a podcast talking about fake sports.
Wouldn't that be tremendous?
So I went to an Astros game last month.
Hey, I might go. Houston is getting a minor league hockey team next year. I might go check that out.
They're also stealing my WNBA team. So.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't have anything to do with that decision.
Yeah, you sure?
They didn't ask me.
Okay. So I'm going to my first WNBA game this Sunday.
Exciting.
Yes. The Connecticut Sun against Aubrey Edwards' Seattle Storm. So, yeah. And also my friend Jen, also out there in Seattle, a Storm fan. So I got to make them both cry this Sunday.
Yeah, nothing better than that.
Nothing better than to make your friends cry.
Yeah.
Which, of course, because I may be cheering for them, Connecticut will lose by like 50 or something. And it's women's basketball, so like a high-scoring women's basketball game is in like 70 points, So if they lose by 50.
My wife said that she like jinxed whatever team she went to see always, but then when I went to see the Astros won, so maybe I'm lucky.
Hey, I mentioned I've been to 5 Red Sox games, and it took them to the 5th game to actually win, so.
Yeah.
So from Altroff, Texas, Dirty Dutch Mantel versus Private Terry Daniels. Steve Casey came out during this match. Turns out that's actually the Englishman who Doc is upset with. I wasn't sure because they just kept calling him the Englishman, and we got so many of them on the show.
There are several.
Yes.
So many that on some shows you have to change their name.
I think that's just we have too many SKCs on some shows.
Yeah.
So not that Dutch is a bad wrestler or anything, because he's not. He's perfectly fine. But I'd rather hear him doing color. And it's not just because Joel is here. Just like because I like Dutch as a color commentator. Dutch used the stun gun. There was this blonde guy in WCW who used that move. Whatever happened to him?
I think I'll never get over. Lifetime mid-carder.
Yeah. Dutch won with the Gourd Buster, which they called the MX.
Yeah, not to be confused with Bushi's MX, which is a diving code breaker, or the Midnight Express, which is sometimes abbreviated MX. I noticed the part that tickled me about this was that JR was going on and on about what a patriot Private Terry Daniels is while he was getting his ass kicked by Dutch Mantel, who actually fought in Vietnam.
Now, is Terry Daniels? I'm assuming Terry Daniels was in the military.
When I looked up his Wikipedia, it did not say anything about him being in the military, but I don't know that,
I guess I shouldn't make assumptions then.
It says it doesn't say when he was born. It just says that he made his debut in Amarillo in 1978.
And that he's
got nothing.
Apparently, he's still alive.
Got nothing outside of his wrestling career on his Wikipedia page.
Nope. Well, I guess if they gave a Wikipedia page to everybody who was a private, that would be, Wikipedia would have to pay for more hosting.
Well, that's true, but then like if a private was noteworthy for something else, it would get a mention. You would think.
That is true. And I guess that would explain why he was wearing the wrong chevrons. Because like if he just didn't know any better, he just had a military uniform.
Somebody didn't know any better.
Yeah. At least they were smart enough to figure out that he shouldn't be wearing his uniform to matches because it takes him 10
Yeah,
hours to take it off.
yeah.
And it would look really weird if he didn't wear his pants. Like it's the pants, taking off the pants, it takes forever. You got to do it over the boots. But like him just standing there in his jacket top and no pants would be really weird.
That's why you get the breakaway pants. I guess they don't. I guess they don't offer Marine Corps dress breakaway pants. You probably have to get those custom made.
Probably. Can you imagine? Like, I now I've never been in the military. Taking one look at me can give you that answer. But can you imagine like going to like the military supply place where they give you uniforms? Or, like, these are your dress pants. These are your breakaway pants. Yeah. In case the other guys are coming after you and you need like range of motion to run.
I've always wanted to get like it would have to be custom made, so it would probably be really expensive. But I want like a Civil War reenactor uniform, but I want a Zouave uniform. You know what Zouaves are?
No.
They were like these colonial, like French North African troops were the style, and they wore these like really fancy uniforms with colored fezzes. And there were several regiments of Zouaves in the American Civil War.
Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, that was your weekly history lesson. There's somebody who's going to see Zouaves in the description of this week's episode that listens to this show for the first time ever, just to hear you talk about that.
There you go. See, I need to get back to doing like history content. That's what the people need.
And not wrestling history either, because we have plenty of that.
No, I can do that too, though.
Yeah. Well, while you're thinking about something else to talk about with global history, let's go to Steve Casey, who's all over this fucking show this week. He's got a promo now. And I'm going to unmute it.
Strong comments and listening on the monitor in the dressing room, Dr. Death made a big challenge to you.
He certainly did. This is my first opportunity to speak to you people. I'd like to say what a pleasure it is being here. And as you said, the Doc issued a challenge. Well, the Doc's a big, fine athlete, and he shouldn't be so upset that his protege lost. The guy's inexperienced. I beat him fair and square. I don't know what he's got against me. But also, with that big, fine physique of yours, Doc, you've also got a big mouth to match it. And I want to find out if you've got the guts to back your words up. I'm here. I've never run from a challenge in my life. And if you want it out in that ring, in that squared circle, you think you can take me out? Come on, boy, try me out, because I'm here, and I ain't going to run anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, the challenge has been...
So I'm going to, pare down this and just hit the highlights of the promo. Steve Casey said Doc with his big, fine physique can try to take him out.
I hope they have a lovely time.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that is just too little of. So while we were listening to that riveting promo by Steve Casey Jones, Trae sent me a picture of what the Zouaves wore. And like I told you, it's tremendous, but also looks fake.
Well, I'm sending you a photograph now.
I believe you. I'm not saying it was fake, just that it, like, when you picture people who in military uniform, you don't expect like baggy pants like that.
There were still some French colonial units wearing those in the opening months of World War One, which is where the 19th century went to die. So whatever I think of, World War One is the most pointless war in human history, and whenever I think of it, I just imagine Zouaves getting mowed down by machine guns.
I forget what show it was I was watching. I don't think it was The Big Bang Theory, because if it was, Sheldon Cooper would be like, oh, well, it's because of this, and that. There was some shows watching where they're like, the characters in it had no idea why World War One happened. It was like, well, we were going after the Nazis. That's like, nope, that was World War Two.
No. Oh, it's that meme. You know that meme where like the guy is in front of the board with all the writing and the strings on it? That's what it looks like trying to explain how World War One started.
The guy. Every fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia just said, the guy.
I never watched that show.
It's a great show.
I've heard good things.
Yeah. And I always say, like, especially shows like that, because I can picture some people out there might be like, well, how do you not find that show offensive? And that show was like South Park. They insult everybody. So it's hard to be offended when, like, they're not just coming after gay people or trans people. They're insulting everybody. And it's like, yeah, it's funny.
Speaking of insulting people, I just read the greatest sentence. The audio of Charlie Kirk getting shot is now a TikTok sound for outfit transformations.
Those are words.
Isn't English beautiful?
It is. We have some great words later on. Some of the best words. But before we get to those words, we need to hear 18 seconds of words from General Eddie Gilbert. Let's go to that now.
Gentlemen, this is Jim Ross back at ringside with General Eddie Gilbert. This is scheduled to be a tag team matchup.
Right. I know it's scheduled to be a tag team match, but I'm not stupid. These two guys couldn't even beat my mother. Never let us beat both of us in the ring, so I'm going to let the Nightmare take them both on, baby.
All right, there you hear from the General. Let's go to ring announcer Boyd Pierce.
All right. Short, simple, and to the point. And so Eddie Gilbert's sitting out of this match where the Nightmare is now going to wrestle Brown Dye in a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Yeah.
And of course, for those who didn't listen to us last week, Brown Dye is Paul Brown and Richard Dye, who somehow, and this is Mid-South, and people never team up, especially jobbers don't ever team up with each other twice. And Brown Dye is teaming up twice in a row.
The fun is just too good.
Yes. I think superstar Bill Dundee is like, oh, Mike, that sounds great. That is the worst impression of ever.
He's a punny fellow.
Yes. God. Of all my impressions, my Bill Dundee impression is certainly one of them.
Sure is.
Now, since Eddie Gilbert was a legal participant in the match, albeit one who didn't participate, does he still get his share of the winner's purse?
I think so. I think they just kind of considered him in the match.
Yeah. I think in the Mid-South record books, the Nightmare and Eddie Gilbert do move up to tag team rankings now with this win.
That's how I'm going to consider it.
However, I will say this. I had to nitpick at young Edward Gilbert. He told us if we can't hear to turn the volume up. If we can't hear him, how do we know to turn the volume up?
Well, that's just common sense.
Okay. Nightmare pinned Dye with a pile driver, but then he beat up referee Ronnie West and may have gotten disqualified, but Gilbert dragged him away, and we went to commercial before the result could be overturned.
He did not just beat up the referee. He pile drove Brown and Dye and West.
Poor Brown, Dye, and West. We may never see these people ever again on the show.
Now, before we move on to Dr. Death and Steve Casey, did you notice on the bumper what this match was supposed to be?
Yes, I wrote it down. We were supposed to have Dr. Death Steve Williams versus the returning Mark Ragen.
This is such a travesty.
But sadly, Mark Ragen was replaced by Steve Casey, who is all over every fucking thing we watch this week. If I watch Smoky Mountain and Steve Casey's on the show this week, I swear.
No, but I will give you a spoiler. You will see the Nightmare this week.
Oh, God. Why would you do that to me?
It's not this Nightmare, though.
So you're telling me Moondog Rex doesn't show up on something
No,
else?
it's the Nightmare who was on here last week as the wrestler.
Well, we've already had Danny Davis on the show, and we've already had Moondog Rex on the
Mhm.
show. We might as well go 3 for 3 with Nightmares.
Which, by the way, according to Cage Match, the following show after last week also had a Ted Allen losing a match, and this show did not. So I wonder what happened there.
Well, I mean, we'll get to it, but I mean, we had a interruption, and that may have edited out any potential Theodore Allen match.
No, it didn't, because it just cut out half of the fucking main event.
I thought the main event was the 6th round of the television tournament for a medal and $10,000.
I guess the main event was Bill Watts' fat fucking head talking.
And we didn't even get to see Fathead either. Well, before we get to Fathead, let's go to the match. It's Dr. S.C. Williams versus Steve Casey. JR tried to tell us about referee Ronnie West, but instead the match was on. Now, I gotta say, Steve Casey is not a very large man. He's tall. He's not a small guy, but he's not thick. He's not ripped. But these two had a hoss match. You know, there was some clubbering going on here, to quote Dusty Rhodes.
I have discovered the issue. There is an error on Cage Match.
No way.
Well, yeah, and I'm gonna sign in. The only time that I ever sign into Cage Match is when I'm reporting a mistake.
They done a fuck up.
It says that Ted Allen lost to Dutch Mantel when that was Terry Daniels. Everything else appears to be correct.
Well, hopefully, maybe Ted Allen appears next week to Dutch Mantel
instead of Terry Daniels.
Yes. So I don't want to alarm you, Trey, and I hope you're sitting down for this.
Okay.
But this match was 1.5 million times better than the Edcar match.
It sure was. Maybe 2 million.
In case you thought that crappy match was Steve Casey's fault instead. JR, I think, has a low opinion of the intelligence of the University of Oklahoma students, because he talked about how he was at an OU scrimmage a few weeks ago, and the kids there still remember Doc. Doc graduated like 2 years ago.
Well, yeah.
It's like, I hope they fucking remember him. A lot of them were in school with him. Oh, God. Casey kicked out of a leg drop, further proving that move does not work in this territory. Doc KO'd Casey with his arm brace and then won with the Oklahoma Stampede.
He did exactly what he said was going to do.
Yep. Now, we were informed during this match that Ted DiBiase has chosen next week to return.
Oh.
I guess good for him. And also next week we're going to get Doc versus Duggan and the Freebirds, who 2 weeks ago we were told would be here in 3 weeks. So, hey, we're on time.
Oh, wow. So if they actually turn up next week, that'll be
Maybe.
Great.
Well, we'll see. Will they be here on next week's show or the week after's show?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dirty White Boys. Dirty White Boy and Len Denton versus North American champion Terry Taylor, who is a bitch, a stooge, and a D-Gens, and superstar Bill Dundee. Now, suddenly, as this match is starting to go, we are interrupted by a news bulletin. And it's a news bulletin because suddenly on the screen it says Mid-South Wrestling and News Bulletin. Now, we're keeping in mind that, this must be something major in order to interrupt a big tag team match, on the show. So let's go to Big Head, who is going to tell us all about what happened recently that requires this cutaway.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are sorry to interrupt this exciting main event tag team bout, but we have a news bulletin of such impact we felt compelled to share this with you. This has never before happened in the history of Mid-South Wrestling. Saturday night in the Fairgrounds Coliseum in Jackson, Mississippi, the National Wrestling Alliance had commissioned the Power Professional Wrestling camera crew to film the world's champion, Ric Flair. While in Jackson, the crew filmed the entire Mid-South Wrestling Spectacular, which included a main event with Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Kamala. Skandor Akbar, a heinous individual, who has threatened Hacksaw Duggan right here on national television on numerous occasions, has just perpetrated the most vicious, premeditated act of terrorism I've ever witnessed in all my years in this sport. At this time, all I can tell you is that Jim Duggan was flown by private plane to a burn center so that they can attempt to save his left eye. It looks like we have just witnessed the end of his career. We have no further information we can share with you about the incident at this time. However, next week we'll try to have a complete report for you. Please join us then. Now back to Jim Ross and Joel and the main event in progress on Mid-South Wrestling.
So I lied. We need to get to see Big Head. General Skandor Akbar threw a fireball at Jim Duggan.
Okay, you say he sort of dropped the fireball on Duggan.
That is a good description. He dropped the fireball on Jim Duggan.
Why the fuck did they do this? Everybody knows that this show is fucking taped. You didn't need to interrupt your fucking match. What? Why?
They've literally said on this show that this is a pre-taped, television wrestling show. And
all of this shit, because Mid-South Wrestling is supposed to be this fucking beacon of unimpeachable logic. And there's so much stupid fucking shit that if you think about for a second, makes no goddamn sense. And it quote unquote exposes the business every bit as much as the stupid shit that they obsessed over.
The most vicious, premeditated act of terrorism.
I before you had seen this, I messaged you that had to be the episode title this week.
And it is.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm waiting to see where that came up. And I'm like, when Steve Casey's all over the show, I'm like, okay, somehow Steve Casey has to do with the most vicious premeditated act of terrorism. He's going to beat Dr. Death, and they're going to be like, oh, that was fucking the most vicious premeditated act of terrorism or something. Nope.
Steve Casey is completely innocent.
And then it's like, here's the funny thing. And I'm going to complain about the placement of this for a number of reasons, but let's just go with the most obvious. This was such an insane moment that we needed to cut into the show to tell you about it. Why did it have to go at the end of the show? This is the last segment of the show.
Shouldn't that have been what JR and Joel... Or if this happened after the fucking show was introduced, I don't know. You could have done it in a way that made some kind of sense.
Plus, why wasn't this shown instead of Edcar Boo Thomas falling through the
That's
rope?
What they should have cut away from that match and then come back to just the finish.
Yes, literally, they could have when that match got going, you could have cut away we hate to cut away out of this match, but the most vicious premeditated act of terrorism occurred, and now back to Edcar Boo Thomas, and that's when you see him running into Dr. Death and getting pinned.
The most vicious premeditated act of terrorism that I have ever seen.
Oh my God. Can you imagine Bill Watts running a wrestling show after 9/11?
I wish.
There's an alternate universe where Bill Watts is hosting that episode of SmackDown from Houston.
Yeah.
Oh, and you thought Stephanie McMahon's comment about...
oh, God.
The SmackDown would have been 2 hours of Bill Watts telling us to bomb Iraq. And Iraq had nothing to do with it.
And Iran for good measure.
Yes. And Russia. Don't forget Russia.
North Korea.
Yes.
Just all of them.
Oh, God. So, back to the tag team match, because, we did get a good amount of match. I guess that might be why they felt they could interrupt it, because the match went like 7 minutes or so. But, there was a random babyface miscommunication spot where Dundee and Taylor ran into each other inadvertently. But it led to nothing.
You know what? Accidents happen.
Accidents happen, I guess. They just kept going. They got the heat on Dundee. And we're told that what keeps people going is when a kid in the crowd tells you to not give up, which is an inspiring comment. However, what happens if there's another kid in the crowd telling your opponent not to give up?
Well, then you have to fight forever.
Fight forever. And then Taylor won with a 5-arm and the figure 4 on the Dirty White Boy.
Yeah, we didn't get a beginning, but we got a finish right before the TV time ran out.
Yes. Which is funny. I thought, because we've seen the White Boys not lose many matches on this show, and I figured them losing, they might be on their way out of the territory, but they're here until the end of June. So
they do a lot of this kind of point. I don't know. It seemed like they were feuding with the Rock and Roll, and then I feel like I haven't seen the Rock and Roll Express on here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we went a month without Terry Taylor. Now we've gone a month without the Rock and Roll Express. We haven't even seen that Rock and Roll Express music video for the 85th time, or the Terry Taylor music video for the 85th time.
We did determine at one point that Terry Taylor had mono. Maybe
yes.
There's no telling what Ricky and Robert had.
That's not just us being smartasses. Terry Taylor really had mono.
Yeah, no, that was a shoot. Terry Taylor had mono and missed several weeks of TV in fall of '84. We talked about it at the time that we hadn't seen it, and we didn't make that connection until later. But yeah.
There's something just funny about how much we rip on Terry Taylor, then we find out that he missed a month of TV because he had mono.
Yeah.
So that was Mid-South Wrestling, a show that I'd forgotten happened almost as soon as it ended, except for Edcar.
Oh.
Oh, God. We're going to miss you, Edcar, for the next 5 weeks.
Oh.
All right. Championship Sports, May 4th, 1985, taped April 29th, 1985, at the Will Rogers Coliseum in Fort Worth, Texas. 2 fucking hours of this. And, when we say 2 hours, we don't mean it was an hour and 22 minutes, because it didn't have the commercials.
No, we had the commercials.
Nay. We had the commercials. And
in particular, okay, a lot of people have seen the famous commercial for the pizza place with Carrie and Kevin and Mike. And that was on every fucking commercial break.
Yes. Before we got here, though, before we dove into the show, we first got commercials for El Chico, We're Really Cooking Now, Kissinger Discount Auto Supplies, and Coors Beer.
Yeah.
And I believe this was the Coors Beer commercial that said "to be continued."
Oh, I did not write down what all of the commercials were. I enjoyed them.
It eventually jumped the shark when I got to the 6th Brumbaugh's Furniture commercial.
They get repetitive. It was the same commercials.
Yeah. But let's go to Drunk Mark Lawrence to introduce this week's episode of Championship Sports.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Championship Sports here on Channel 11. I'm Mark Lawrence at Will Rogers Coliseum, along with Ralph Pulley, Joe Ranelli, and our executive director, producer Jim Lund, as we welcome you to 2 hours of the world's most exciting and finest professional wrestling. Well, as we come to you tonight, it's the eve of the big Parade of Champions extravaganza scheduled for tomorrow afternoon at Texas Stadium. We'll be talking about this throughout the evening. Want to accentuate tonight some of the advantages of 2 rings side by side on the stadium floor. We'll be recapping some of the Fritz von Erich, Gary Hart excitement from last week. We'll be talking about the fact that if world champion Ric Flair gets disqualified, he loses the belt tomorrow. A lot to catch up on tonight. Let's get it started now by going to the ring as Ralph Pulley waits for the opening introduction.
So drunk Mark Lawrence is talking, and in the background is a tall guy with dark hair. And I'm like, oh, don't fucking tell me. Don't fucking tell me. And sure enough, Steve Casey is in our opening match here on World Class. Oh my God. Take a drink every time Steve Casey's on the fucking show this week.
Stephen Casey Jones.
Yes, because even World Class realized we have too many S. Caseys. We got to do something about this.
Yes.
And he is not a friend of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He just has 3 names. Stephen Casey Jones.
Stephen Casey Jones. That's not enough syllables.
Heroes in a Half Shell. Turtle Power.
Turtle Power.
So, Stephen Casey Jones versus Kelly Kiniski.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, during this match, I was thinking to myself, not that he's a good commentator, but drunk Mark Lawrence, like, I kind of wonder how this is going to go because he's talking up a storm. He's just talking and talking and talking, and he has all of his talking points. And like, I don't think he took a breath during this opener. And I was thinking, man, imagine if drunk Mark Lawrence has a podcast. I feel like he goes 3 hours by himself without an ad break.
I would listen to drunk Mark Lawrence's pod. Does he have a podcast?
I'm sure he does, but I don't know about that.
Oh.
However, I also made the note, I wonder if he's just going through all of his talking points now. And we kind of come back to that later on in the show. Now, he does run down the card for the David Von Erich Memorial Parade Champions. I keep wanting to say the David Manning Champions.
Oh, trying to kill off poor David Manning.
I am not trying to kill off poor David Manning. Just that I've said David Manning Von Erich for so long that I can't say those words without them being combined. We're told that in the Ric Flair Kevin Von Erich world title match, if Flair is disqualified, he loses the belt, and that falls can count in either ring.
Mm-hmm.
We're also told that in the American tag title bout with the Fantastics and the Midnight Express, the match will happen simultaneously in both rings. And thank God they talked about this later, so I figured out what the hell they were saying. But he starts talking about how there's going to be a stipulation where Gary Hart has put up his hair for life against, and I quote, Fritz Von Erich's well-being. I wrote, how the hell do you enforce such a stipulation?
How do you just never? Well, how is he just never allowed to grow his hair back?
That too. I was more curious, how the hell does Fritz put his well-being on the line in a match? Oh God! But hey, at least it made sense later. Just was a really poor choice of words there by our drunken friend here. Then he tells us he's talking about the ticket prices, and we never got closure to this because he says he believes tickets start as low as $8, maybe $7. But he'll get the answer and come back to us later with it.
Yeah, I thought he said $7 later.
Oh, I didn't hear him say ever come back with a ticket price. He said 8, maybe 7, and I thought that was it. I guess there's been a lot of rain in Dallas lately because he would not shut up throughout the show about it's going to happen rain or shine. Then we get what would have been the worst spot we've ever seen of all time this week, if not for the other match. What is with Steve Casey and pulling out these spots out of people? Kelly Kiniski goes for a leapfrog and manages to knee Jones in the head, and somehow Jones got a 2 count.
By the way, it has been raining quite a bit in Texas lately here in 2026, so it's the same time of year. Very well could have been.
Well, They must have been distracted by the rain outside the building because Jones then won with a crossbody where he almost completely missed Kaniski, but then they fell and rolled over a few times. So Stephen Casey Jones picks up the win here.
Yes, he did. Hey, as a world-class TV match, I enjoyed this. Steve Casey does some really neat, intricate technical stuff. I like it.
And yeah, there was that. Oh, I don't want to say there's nothing wrong with it. At least I mentioned two things that were wrong with it. But yeah, it was a fine match. And to be honest, I went into this dreading the worst. You know? It's world class. Like, we go in with an automatic feeling of dread every week. And give me 2 hours of it. Especially like it's basically 3 episodes because usually the world class episodes we see are like 41 minutes.
Other than like it's a little painful that Rip Oliver and Brian Adias goes 3 falls, but other than that, like nothing's really atrocious on this show.
No. I did threaten Trae that if we got a Johnny Mantell 20-minute match, he was going to be sleeping in the car in Chicago.
Yeah.
We got commercials for Brumboss Furniture, Long John Silver's Chicken Nuggets, which I wonder how those were. I can't imagine Long John Silver's doing chicken nuggets, but
I don't know that I'm sure I've been to a Long John Silver's once, but I can't remember it.
They have some good hush puppies.
Yes. Like hush puppies.
Yeah. They also had commercials for Toyota and a movie called Rappin'.
Oh yeah, these movies, like there were a couple movie trailers that I'm like, I've never fucking heard of this movie.
Yes. And it's funny because, like, I'm watching my WWF Superstars from 1995, and it's like they keep having all these fucking movies you've never heard of airing commercials during WWF television. But yeah, that's basically what we were getting here. And I actually looked this up. Rappin' stars Mario Van Peebles, whose raps were overdubbed by Master G. Here I thought George Wells had zero talent for anything.
Mario Van Peebles was he played a character in Highlander: The Final Dimension, who was this evil immortal whose name was Kane.
By the way, the fact that Trae no-sold my George Wells joke is one of the most disappointing thing to happen on this week's show.
I'm sorry, I was excited to talk about the Highlander franchise.
And I was excited to talk about George Wells. There's something wrong with me, I think.
Well, we knew that.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to Drunk Mark Lawrence, who's going to segue into a Jim Cornette promo. But before he does that, he's plugging an upcoming live event. And he does this 4 or 5 times throughout the show. But I timestamped because I'm like, well, this is kind of unique. It's Drunk Mark Lawrence building up a live event. So let's go to that. And like I said, that's going to segue into a Jim Cornette promo.
Sure, you're on hand. Monday night, we'll be at the beautiful new Amon Carter exhibit building. Here, a part of the Memorial Center. As at 8 o'clock, you're going to see a fabulous main event, a lumberjack-style main event involving Freebird Terry Gordy facing the one-man gang. A great bout in itself, but add the lumberjacks around the ring, the other wrestlers on the card, it'll really be exciting. They will throw anyone back in the ring that happens to get thrown out or happens to run out. The one-man gang versus Terry Gordy. You'll see Gino Hernandez and Chris Adams, the dynamic duo, teaming together against Kerry Von Erich and fabulous Freebird Michael Hayes. You'll see the Cripple Rip Oliver in action. The defense of the TV title depending on tonight's outcome. And much, much more. Make sure you're on hand Monday night in the Amon Carter exhibit building next door to Will Rogers Coliseum at 8 p.m. Jim Cornette is here with us now, the Cripple Rip Oliver. Tomorrow afternoon is the day. What are your plans?
If you people would shut up once in a while, you might learn something. You realize that?
No respect at all.
I'm upset enough tonight without having to endure all of this stuff from all these people. As you just said, it's going to be tomorrow afternoon when this is seen at Texas Stadium. I have tried. I've been talking myself hoarse. I've been on the phone to my mother's lawyers. I've talked to my mother 4 times today. I've talked to everybody from here to the president, and I can't get out of it. I'm going to have to sit next to Little John in Texas Stadium.
Don't worry about it.
Rip, please. Baby, you wouldn't let nothing happen to me, would you? You
don't have to worry, Jimmy. Don't worry about the big man.
I'm worried about the guy who's a circus freak. Everybody's seen him. He's 8 feet tall. He weighs almost 500 pounds. He could take 2 fingers and break my neck. He could take 2 hands and break my back. And I'm going to have to be sitting next to him, and I'm not happy about it at all. The only thing that I am looking forward to about tomorrow is Rip's match with Mike Von Erich. Because you see, Mike, I know now for a fact you got a hairline fracture in that hand because of what the crippler did to you right here. And you know that come tomorrow afternoon, that sweat's going to be popping out on the palms of your hands. And that bad feeling's going to come in the pit of your stomach. And your blood's going to start pumping, that adrenaline's going to start going, and you're going to get nervous, punk. Because you've wrestled some matches since that happened, even with the bad hand. But you ain't never got back in the ring with the man that did it in the first place, the man that nearly crippled you, the man that nearly ended your career, and the man that put an end once and for all to that iron claw. He nearly did all that. And Rip, I know that when you get in the ring with him tomorrow night, if he has the guts to show up, that you're going to finish the job, ain't you, baby?
I just want to tell everybody here in this big state of Texas one thing I'm sorry for, is I didn't finish breaking the boy's hand and crippling him up and put him out of professional wrestling. Tomorrow afternoon, Mike Von Erich, brother, you're all mine. I'm going to do the job and finish it.
Everybody knows that the Von Erichs are stupid. They don't have any brains, and we're going to see tomorrow. We're going to find out that the Von Erichs don't have any guts, because Mike Von Erich, you ain't going to have the guts to show up and face the man that nearly puts you out for good. But the Fantastics in that match with Little John, I was thinking about something else too, because my mother brought it to my attention when I talked to her the second time today. That match is no disqualification. I've been telling everybody the Midnight Express can do anything to the Fantastics because there's no DQ. But she called to my attention the point that they can do anything they want to us too. I can't believe it. A no disqualification match with Little John sitting next to me, and the no disqualification applies to him too. If he wanted to take that fist that's big around as a grapefruit or a cantaloupe or something and hit me on the top of my head, I don't think there's anything they can do about it, Mark. These people are sadistic. I'm going to say one thing. Little John, you're a circus freak. And Fantastics, we hate your guts and we want those belts. It's going to be no disqualification. It's all going to happen at Texas Stadium. And I swear, if anything happens to me, my mother will sue you. She'll sue Little John. If she can get all those people in that building served, then she'll sue them too. Because once and for all, we're going to prove to everybody that we're the best team. And nothing better happen to me. That's what Mark Lawrence, nothing better happen to me in that thing. Because if it does, Rip.
Let me tell you, Big John, Little John, whatever you are, you better not lay a hand on this man right here. If you do, you're going to have some dealings with me.
This is just another trick to try to keep me down. It's a conspiracy against Cornette, the crippler. But we're going to come out on top of it. But Little John, you stay away from me. I'll kill you, I swear.
Does that make this a cornspiracy? Ha 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 ha. I have to love it. This is very much the, it's old school wrestling where we have a gimmick match coming up. And even if you've been watching wrestling for 50 years, we're still going to explain to you the rules of this match just in case you've somehow never seen a lumberjack match. We're going to take the time out to explain what that is. And it's one of the things that's like missing in wrestling where they just nowadays, where they just assume that you automatically know the rules of every match,
Yeah, well, they used to say there was a lot of turnover, that people who were like fans, it would be a different group of fans every, which I don't know. It's kind of the same way to some extent today, in that like there are completely new groups of fans and people aren't fans anymore, but there's just they take for granted that so much of their viewing audience are just lifelong fans that I don't know, nobody thinks of it that way anymore.
I was also thinking about that Bret Hart Shawn Michaels ladder match. The one that was on like 27 WWF home videotapes.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you watch a ladder match, they will take 5 minutes to explain to you how you win the ladder match. You go back and watch that Bret Shawn match, and it literally is just Mike McGurk saying, "This is a ladder match." And no explanation as to what that is, how you win, etc.
They probably didn't tell her.
That's possible. She had a brother named Stacy. But I always love that story. Leroy McGurk wanted a son so bad he named his daughter Mike.
Yeah.
Now, Rip was upset because he was not able to put Mike Von Erich out of wrestling, but he vows to put Mike Von Erich out of wrestling for good here. And so does that mean there's an alternate universe where Mike not only doesn't get toxic shock syndrome, but also doesn't do the Von Erich thing? Because if Rip Oliver put him out of wrestling in May, then he never would have gone to Israel.
Maybe that would have been the better universe.
Yep. Maybe Mike Von Erich could be on AEW television right now, managing his sons, in a feud against Kevin and his sons.
No, that would have sold out. That would have been the main event of All In.
Yeah. There was talk over what the main event could possibly be. I think obviously Ross and Marshall Von Erich versus Mike's imaginary children. That would have put 80, however many people were at the first All In, it put one more ticket there.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there were that many seats in the one in Dallas, the baseball stadium.
I meant the one in Wembley.
Oh,
Yeah.
That I just thought you'd have to do that one in Texas, wouldn't you?
Well, the match is so big that it would span, all across the world.
I will say that at All In last year, it was pretty cool to be at a big show in Texas and see Kevin Von Erich put the claw on somebody.
That's nice. I have no memory. Well, I didn't watch the show, but I don't remember Ross and Marshall being on the show either. So
they were on the pre-show.
Okay. So, by the way, after Mama Cornette explained to Jim what a no disqualification match is, that was nice of Mama Cornette to, explain that to Jimmy.
You would think that he would have known.
You would think he would have figured that one out, but he was so obsessed about being in the corner with Little John that.
Well, he knew that it meant that the Midnight Express could do whatever they wanted to the Fantastics, but he didn't realize that it worked the other way too.
Well, to be fair, the Fantastics aren't rule breakers, so maybe it just never crossed his mind that David would do that.
They're awful mad, though. Jim Cornette's been kind of a peckerhead to them.
That is true. Well, I'll tell you what, we've been talking for quite a while. Let's now go to a word from our sponsors. Let's take a break away.
Brother taught me about wrestling, but I taught them about eating. So he brought us to Pizza Inn's all-you-can-eat buffet. You get hot, fresh pizza, thin crust or pan. Plus, there's plenty of spaghetti, garlic toast, and a salad bar, all for a super low price. That's why I'm paying today. Kev, let me pay. I'll pay for this one. You two pay for the pizza to go. Pizza to go? I thought you were full. These are for Dad. Yeah, sure. For pizza out, it's pizza in. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For pizza out, it's pizza in. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Pizza in for $3.29 of May 1985 money. You can go to a buffet and get pizza, a salad, garlic toast, all the pasta you could eat for $3.29. Which, by the way, we did do the inflation calculator. I believe it was $10.21.
Oh, Pizza Inn in Dallas still exists. I'm gonna have to go there next time.
How much do they charge for their buffet now? Do they still even have a buffet?
I don't know. They have a buffet. It didn't say how much it costs though.
Well, you should go there and demand to only pay $3.29. You just saw a commercial with Kerry, Kevin, and Mike Von Erich, and it said in the upper left-hand corner for half a second that it costs $3.29.
You think they'll? Apparently, they're like a chain, and there may be some in Houston too. That would be convenient. They're also in Hangzhou, China.
I hope you go in there and say, "For pizza out, it's pizza in." Yeah.
Oh, I'd have to, wouldn't I? Yeah.
Yes. I'd say, I don't imagine your wife would join in, but you need to get two friends who would go there with you and do the commercial, or at least that, the final 3 seconds of it.
It's bold of you to think I have two friends.
I'm sure you have many friends.
I have you and this cat.
That's 2.
Well, I don't think the cat would. You think he'd be up for it?
I think if you taught the Astro Peach English, I think he would.
He understands when I talk to him.
Well, he's got to speak it.
He understands when I tell him he's the very best boy.
I'm happy he listens to you then. Commercials for Miller Genuine Draft, American Express, and True Value Hardware. And maybe I'm reading too much into the Miller Genuine Draft commercial. However, back in 1985, apparently you can close any deal with a handshake and a Miller Genuine Draft beer.
Yeah, that used to be my beer of choice. That's a very fine, tasty beverage.
I picture you enjoying a good Miller Genuine Draft.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, did I tell you about how when I met Alyssa on our first date?
Did you have Miller Genuine Draft?
Nope, but that commercial did trigger a memory.
Oh.
So Alyssa and I were talking about, a few things before we met, and I asked her what she thought about public displays of affection. And she was iffy on it. And I said, well, if you let me, I'm going to give you a really big hug the first time I see you. And we left it at that. So we go meet up for the date, and I put my arms out, go for a hug, and she sticks her hand out for a handshake.
Oh, fuck.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's funny because I mentioned this to her later. She had no memory of doing that.
Oh.
But now it's something we bring up a lot where, I went for a hug and she shook my hand.
And you did tell her right up front that you are mortal. That's correct.
I did. I informed her that I was mortal, I wear glasses, and I am transgender.
Okay.
And
those
I'm
are
fat.
key facts. And you're new in town.
I'm not new in town, though.
It was the John Mulaney bit.
Oh.
I am black. No, it wasn't. It was I am homeless. I am gay. I have AIDS. I'm new in town.
Oh God, I gotta love John Mulaney. I'm going to see him in November.
You've got to be gone to see him twice now, and I haven't seen him. We love John Mulaney.
Well, you have the chance. I don't know if he's going to be in Tejas anytime soon, but he's doing a tour.
Oh, I have to look about that.
Don't tell my bestie this, but tomorrow is her birthday, and I bought her a ticket to come to the show with me.
Oh, my wife just texted me I'm new in town, so she can hear me, apparently.
Well, they say when you're blind, your other senses, perk up a bit.
You know what? It's kind of bullshit, but there's also kind of some truth to
it. It's much like how, when you're in a relationship, people hit on you more. And my theory is because you exude a little bit more confidence. It's not so much that I don't know this for a fact, obviously, because I'm not blind or I don't have, any other senses missing. But I think it's kind of the same thing, if you're blind and your other senses don't really perk up, it's that you're paying attention to the other senses more than you would normally.
Yeah, I think that's more what it is.
Yeah. I've not been doing a good job of deleting my notes as I'm going along here, so I'm scrolling up and down a bit. One second here. All right. So we've been doing this show now. We've been doing specifically World Class since March of 1983. 2 years and 2 months. It is May of 1985. And after years of conjecture about the world-class television title, it finally occurred.
Yeah.
Dennis Condrey with Jim Cornette versus the television champion Scott Casey for $2,000.
Dennis Condrey came out to the Giorgio Moroder theme from Midnight Express. Scott Casey came out to "I'm the One Mama Warned You About" by Mickey Gilley, which is that's a pretty great use of a country song for entrance music, I thought.
But by the way, this really tells you what cheapskate Smoky Mountain is. $2,000 in May of 1985 equals $2,790.31 in November of 1994. And in reverse, $1,000 in 1994 equals $716.77 in May of 1985.
I don't think it's even breaking kayfabe to say that World Class in 1985 was selling more tickets than Smoky Mountain in 1994.
That is true. That is true. So while I was looking that up, Casey won with a high atomic drop and a takeover, or as most of us would say, a bridging German suplex.
It was a backdrop suplex hold.
Eaton Cornette tried to both get involved post-match, but Scott Casey whooped that ass and stole Corny's green jacket. And I don't want to insinuate anything. However, I don't feel like Condrey fought very hard to win that $2,000.
It was not Bobby Eaton. It was Rip Oliver. There was no Bobby Eaton. It was conspicuous by his absence, I thought.
I'm sorry. I thought that was Bobby Eaton who ran in post-match.
No, that was Rip Oliver, who we know was there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I just saw blonde hair and just thought, well.
Understood. Autofill.
Any other thoughts on our first, last, and only TV title match?
Oh, I mean, they only went 2.5 minutes because Dennis Condrey and Scott Casey are both very good. It was a very good 2.5 minutes.
Yes. Keep in mind how many matches we've seen on the World Class show with far less talented wrestlers that have gone far more than 2.5 minutes.
On this show, Eve.
On this show, we're going to get to it later on.
We still have a 20-minute fucking Brian Adias match with Rip Oliver. Yeah.
20-ish. I guess you would have the exact time.
I think if you add up the time of the 3 falls, it's about 20 minutes.
I just went on pure television time, which included commercials and other stuff. It took up 28 minutes of television time, which it could have been a lot worse, and we'll get to why it could have been a lot worse when we get to that match.
Mm-hmm.
Commercials for Brumbaugh, Burger King, Coors Light, and Hyatt Legal Services. And Burger King has debuted the double cheeseburger, and there were 3 different types of double cheeseburger, and one of them was a mozzarella cheese and mushroom double cheeseburger, and that just looked quite tasty.
They got a peppercorn BLT Whopper right now that I want to try.
And by right now, do you mean in 2026 or in 1985?
In 2026.
Well, you can go get that, and I'll have to pine for my mushroom mozzarella double cheeseburger.
I've set myself a challenge this month that I am trying to not eat any fast food unless I am traveling.
Okay.
So we will see if I can work at a Burger King visit.
This probably goes without saying, because I mean, it's only May 4th, but have you so far been successful?
Yes, I did. I went to the pizza buffet on the 1st, but that doesn't count, I don't think.
No. Drunk Mark Lawrence plugged a house show in Paris, Texas that starts at 8 in the evening. And thankfully he cleared that up because I don't want people showing up at the box office at 7 a.m. wondering what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, and he spelled the name of the venue. I have it written down on here somewhere. Noise Stadium, but he spelled it Noyce, and he went out of his way to spell it because he wasn't sure if he was spelling it correctly. And I Googled it, and he spelled it wrong. It's Noyes.
Because he even said, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly.
Yeah.
Now, do we know, and trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, is it possible that it was spelled the other way in 1985?
It is possible. It is not possible.
Okay. All right. So from there we go now to Drunk Mark Lawrence talking to the lovely Sunshine, and that is going to lead us into Carrie and Mike Von Erich interrupting her.
Always a pleasure to be joined by the lovely Sunshine. Things are going so well these days, and I know you're pleased as we go into the extravaganza coming up at the stadium tomorrow.
Well, Mark, you know, when everyone sees this, it will just be a few hours before The Great Kabuki and Hercules Hernandez face Gino Hernandez and Chris Adams, and they will take care of them tomorrow. Now, like I said, I've issued a challenge after this is over with. I've issued a challenge to Jim Cornette, One Man Gang, and all the others, and their day will come. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be a big time. And it's going to be the greatest wrestling spectacular that we've ever seen in Texas history. And speaking of spectacular, what more can I say? Look who's here.
All right, thank you, Sunshine. Von Erich's Mike and Kerry with us now. The girls are already entertained, but I know you focus your attention on Texas Stadium coming up tomorrow. Not much longer to wait.
That's right, you know, Mark, tomorrow night is the night. And I'd just like to say right now, my brother David means just as much to me right now as did last year. And my brother Kevin, I've never seen anyone try and train his guts out the way he's training for tomorrow night in Texas Stadium for Ric Flair. Hey, it happened once, last year. No disqualification for Kevin. So Ric Flair, go ahead, get disqualified, and the belt will change hands. And my brother Kevin will be the second Von Erich to be the World Heavyweight Champion.
Okay, Kerry. Now, Mike, it's your revenge opportunity against the Crippler. How is the hand?
Hey, the hand's getting better, Mark. The hand's a lot better. The doctor gave me this cast, put it on there just not for any purpose of the hand being broken, but just so it doesn't get hurt again. He put this on there, and I asked the NWA if it was all right. The NWA official says, okay, if I didn't use the hand. Now, y'all know me. I'm not going to use this in a match, especially against the guy that broke my hand in the door just back here, what was it, 3 weeks ago. So,
you have no motivation at all to use that, do you?
no, I don't need to use this. I can wrestle this guy.
I mean, but if he did want to use it, that would
strictly be an accident, right?
It might be, I mean, just if he did, but of course Mike would, you know, being Mike and Von Erich, you know.
It wouldn't hurt my hand.
It wouldn't hurt your hand, that's right, okay. Let's talk a minute about the 12-man bout. 3 of 5 falls. Who's going to drive away in the car?
Well, that's right, Mark. You know, first of all, we sure are happy that Kev is now in our corner with us. You know, we can't predict what's going to happen with the Freebirds once we get out there. Myself and the Von Erichs, we want to get along. We want to win the match. We want the $100,000, and one of us want to drive away in a brand new Lincoln. But I tell you, like I said, you know, you can't predict what's going to happen. The Freebirds and the Von Erich have been feuding just too much. But like I said, we're going to try to get along. We're going to try to work as a team. And everyone knows that the Freebirds, next to the Von Erichs, are one of the greatest tag teams in all of professional wrestling. And so I tell you, the Von Erichs are going to go out. The Von Erichs are #1. Freebirds are still #2, but we're going to come out there. We're going to work as a team, and we are going to win that 12-man match and walk away with $100,000.
We'll see y'all there. Rip Oliver, I'll see you there tomorrow.
All right, Kerry and Mike Von Erich talking about Texas Stadium coming up tomorrow. Kerry, closing comment.
Well, you know, Mark, you know, one-man gang. And Gary Hart, you know, Gary Hart's supposed to be the big sly fox, always coming up with the way out and the way in. Well, I'll tell you what, he pulled my father out of the woodwork. And my father, well, let me explain how it happened. My father came and he said, now, Kerry, when the Iron Claw does work on one-man gang, because we're awful confident in our hold, he said, when it works, all you do on TV is explain you want an even match. And an even match, of course, if one-man gang has Gary Hart out by the ring to keep it even, why shouldn't I have my father, Fritz Von Erich, out there, right? I mean, it's even. And so I'll tell you what, to take it a step farther to keep it even, if one-man gang beats me, which we don't like to think about that, but if it does, he wrestles my father, Fritz Von Erich, and my father will come right back like he always did and take one-man gang apart one by one. But one-man gang is not going to defeat Kerry Von Erich, and Gary Hart is going to be in the middle of the ring getting his head shaved just like it should have been done a long time ago. And if anybody thinks Gary Hart's going to try to slip away from my father and get into the ring, you better think twice, because they are handcuffed. So Gary Hart, Learn to live it and love it because my father is handcuffed to you. See you there, Texas Stadium tomorrow night. Bye.
You know, I gotta say, I thought Mike and Kerry Von Erich were gentlemen. Although I guess maybe Sunshine isn't a lady because they just interrupted her and didn't seem to question things. Mike, a little naivete on Mike Von Erich's behalf. It's like, you know, both drunk Mark Lawrence and Kerry are like, oh yeah, you would never use that cast, now would you? And Mike's like, nope, I'm never gonna use this cast. And it's like, okay, Mike, we're trying to lead you on here, but it's kind of going over his head a little bit somehow. But
I maybe Mike is just too pure apart.
there you go. I love that Mark Lawrence asked Kerry for a closing comment, and he didn't shut up for like a whole minute.
It was a very rambly Kerry promo.
And I guess like it goes to what Jim Cornette has said in the past about this show, where it's like you could really just talk for however long you wanted.
Yeah.
No one cared.
By the way, Cornette talked for 4 minutes earlier, and I was hoping I heard him say his record was 7 minutes. So I'm gonna have to go through the shows from the period that the Midnight Express from the territory and see if that one has been archived.
Trae is going to be watching championship sports for the next 6 months so we could find this promo. He's going to be so mad if that promo doesn't exist too.
Yeah.
So they finally explained it here what Fritz putting his health on the line means.
Mm-hmm.
If Gang beats Kerry tomorrow, then Gang is going to get a one-on-one match with Fritz Von Erich. And
all right.
It's kind of like a out of nowhere stipulation because I know. Oh, I guess we haven't been watching the Fort Worth TV, but it's like Fritz hasn't been on the show in almost a year. In fact, it may have been a year. May have been the last David Von Erich show was the last time Fritz was on the show.
Yeah, to be fair, a lot of this shit seems out of left field to us.
That is very true. And at the same time, I can also picture fans. Because it wasn't that long ago when Fritz beat King Kong Bundy at Texas Stadium and his retirement match. That like there's some people out there, you know what? You could see Gang winning just so Fritz could beat up Gang and put him in the claw.
Yeah, especially some kind of fucking disqualification or something.
Yeah.
See them doing that. I don't think they're going to, but you can see them doing that.
No, I think it's obvious that if you know, especially since, spoiler, Kevin's not winning the world title. And we'll get in next week into possibilities for that. I know one of the reasons why that didn't happen. Whether or not it would have happened anyway, there actually is a big reason why it wasn't going to happen.
I do know that there was a better finish pitched for that match.
Yes, Cornette pitched a better finish.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, World Class's hands were tied, even though they did make a big push for Kevin to get a run with the belt. Now, from here, they showed a replay of them setting up the steps. Shouldn't this have aired before the promo? Like I know
you think so.
Yeah. Like I know it started with Sunshine talking, but it's like, you know, spoiler alert, wrestling is fake. You know, it was planned that not Kevin, but Kerry and Mike would interrupt her. And I had to laugh because suddenly I realized why they don't do promos on the regular show. These things last longer than a Johnny Mantel match.
Boy, do they.
Fritz, by the way, just happened to have handcuffs on him during this angle with Gary Hart from last week. What was he going to do to Doris that night?
Oh, dear. Well... Look, they had a lot of kids. They like to get busy.
Yeah, that is true. Commercials for Pizza Inn, Myers Courtesy Ford, Lens Crafter, and Casio. And if Trae wasn't dying over there from choking, I would ask. No worries. I would ask him if he noticed the Myers County Ford commercial was specifically designed to air during wrestling. Because they said, we'll get you back to wrestling shortly. And they mentioned that they're closed tomorrow, but open on Monday.
Yes, I did notice that one.
Oh, God. I guess we'll find out next week. I was too frightened to look this up. They told us a couple times on this show that tomorrow at the David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions, the Kiniski brothers would be wrestling.
Oh dear. There's two of them?
Apparently. And at first I thought they meant like Gene and Kelly, but they kept saying the Kiniski brothers. So it is not Gene.
Is there a Nick Kiniski?
I feel like there is. That name sounds familiar.
There is a Nick Kiniski. Yes, he is the son of Gene Kiniski and the brother of Kelly Kiniski. So I assume that we will see Kelly and Nick.
Yeah. So it's actually
maybe it'll just be Lance Kiniski.
That would be tremendous.
I know. Having just read Lizzy's book, I know we're getting Lance soon.
October. Because it's after Mike's toxic shock syndrome. I think he debuts at the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
So what we've seen, we just heard that long promo with Mike and Kerry Von Erich, and we're about to play a quick promo with Jim Cornette, and we didn't say a whole lot in between. However, 15 minutes has passed, which just says like a lot of nothing happens on this Fort Worth show. You know,
a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I guess like if we were used to it, like I think part of it is I watched, at least an hour 56 minutes of it, so because I wanted to watch all the commercial breaks and everything, and I watched the replays because we'd never seen this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's possible if we were watching this show every week, we'd get it done in less than an hour.
Yeah.
But so 15 minutes after the last promo, we're going to go to In the Ring because Jim Cornette is upset about the goings-on that are happening. Let's go to Jimbo, who's with Ralph Pulley, whose name I'd forgotten. I tried scrolling up, but I deleted it.
This is our television main event.
Hold on, just wait a minute. I was upset and I was there before, but now I'm hot. First of all, having to sit next to Little John ain't enough. Now they got to bring this geek out here with no notice at all tomorrow afternoon. He's going to be wearing a cast, a deadly weapon on his hand. You have got to be kidding me. This is nothing but a conspiracy. I'm sick and tired of having the deck stacked against me. If you people think that Mike Von Erich won't use a deadly weapon, then you're sadly mistaken, because I know he will, because I know that's the only way the Von Erichs fight. I'm launching a protest right now against my man having to wrestle this guy with a weapon on his fist. And what's more, let me tell you something, Scott Casey. My mother gave me that jacket. My mother gave me that jacket. And no dirty, stinking cowboy and no Texas trash is going to put his hands on me and take my jacket and get away with it, Ralph Pulley. You better believe it, and you people better believe it. I'm going to do something.
I was saying this is a television main event, Ben.
Okay, so Cornette is mad because Scott Casey has his jacket. And he's
among other things.
He's filing a protest so Rip Oliver doesn't have to face Mike Von Erich. And I don't think there's enough time for that protest to be heard.
Yeah, the show's tomorrow afternoon and it's Sunday, so they're probably not going to hear it.
No. So, as you heard Ralph Pulley state, it is time for the TV main event. And you may be sitting here thinking, oh man, that was a fast 2 hours.
No.
He is introducing the TV main event 52 minutes and 28 seconds into a 2-hour show.
Mm-hmm.
I was just ready to scream because the TV main event is the Crippler Rip Oliver with Jim Cornette versus the Popular Brian Adias in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck am I about to be forced to watch?
Now, for some reason,
Uh-huh.
for some reason, Brian Adias suspected Rip Oliver of having a gimmick thumb.
Now, just because Rip Oliver just has a taped up thumb, how can we be so sure that it's gimmicked up? That could be a legitimate injury, much like Mike Von Erich's legitimate, not broken hand.
He could have a hangnail.
Exactly. And I was seriously sitting here because they also said there was a 30-minute time limit. So I'm like, okay, even if we're generous with the time limit, that's still an hour and 22 minutes, and this is a 2-hour show. What the fuck are they going to put on for the rest of this fucking show? But I guess we'll see. So the match started with a lengthy debate about Rip's aforementioned tape thumb. And it was during this fall, the first fall, when it became obvious that, remember in the first match when we mentioned that drunk Mark Lawrence wouldn't shut up? He ran through all of his talking points in the opener of the show because he had nothing to say here. I don't know how hot that arena was. I mean, it's 1985, so it's I imagine they didn't have a lot of air conditioning in these buildings. It's probably like the giant overhead fans. These two were soaked 9 minutes in, and for their sake, I was hoping this match did not go to the time limit. I didn't write anything except for Rip rolled through a middle rope crossbody for the pin for the first fall.
This was very much like your typical, decent but too long world-class TV match. Except that when the match ends, it's only the first fall, and we get a commercial break, and then another Mark Lawrence card reading between falls.
And actually, okay, well, this kind of makes sense, because obviously the 30-minute time limit paused during the commercial break and the local promo for Monday night's show. And it's okay. Plus, it gives a natural break to let the guys cool down a little bit and rest a little bit. So it's I didn't hate it.
Yeah, that was fine.
And we got a commercial for Sutherland's where you can get a gallon of paint for $8.95 during their big brand sale.
Oh.
And also Burger King, Texas Rangers baseball, and Las Vegas.
Yeah.
The city of Las Vegas.
The city of Las Vegas was advertising in Dallas.
During the World Class Championship Wrestling show at 10:30 on a Saturday night. I was actually kind of surprised because, maybe this was the late 90s thing. Because this is still 1985 where we still have morals, and especially in the South. At least in the 90s in Northeast Pennsylvania, you get to that late an hour, you're getting the porn ads. The 1-900 lines.
The good old days.
Yep. Okay, I said that there. Drunk Mark Lawrence calls Corny a standing block of perspiration. If we didn't already have a name, that would be a name for the episode.
It would be an outstanding name.
And Adias won with a backslide. I mean, the second fall probably went 6 minutes versus the first fall's 10.
The first fall went 10 minutes and 43 seconds. The second fall went 4 minutes and 27 seconds. And the third fall went 6 minutes and 51 seconds.
Okay. And that's actually going to lead to something I'm going to say here. And I'll just skip here to my thoughts here. And this is something positive I'm going to say about this. I hate 3-fall matches modern day because basically what happens is in modern day, the first fall is pretty much a full match. The third fall is pretty much a full match. But then the second fall, they go a minute and a half. Where it's they hate the idea of having to do 3 falls. So that one fall in the middle is just okay, everyone knows whoever loses the first fall is winning the second fall. So we're just going to do that quickly and get it over with. Do you remember when Paul and Randy Orton had a 3-fall match and Triple H got himself disqualified in the first 30 seconds and then pinned Randy Orton with a pedigree in 30 more seconds and he just went straight to the third fall?
That sounds about right.
Yes. Because Paul cannot do 2 jobs even when he didn't actually get pinned for either job. By the way, we had more commercials for Pizza Time, Pizza Inn. Pizza Time would have been a better name. Pizza Inn, Color Time, Texas State Optical, and Silver Creek Chewing Tobacco.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't mean to insult children, not on this show anyway, but they put this little girl in glasses, and they were the fucking ugliest glasses you've ever seen in your life. This poor girl got made fun of at school on Monday, and she didn't wear her glasses for 20 years, fucking up her eyesight something fierce.
Poor child.
And I say this as somebody who got made fun of for wearing glasses as a kid and thus didn't wear their glasses until their late 20s and fucked up their eyesight something fierce.
That's not good.
The third fall begins with more debate over Rip Oliver's thumb. I got to say, from my vantage point, Rip appears to have two thumbs. So I don't know what the controversy was. In the middle of the third fall, I went downstairs to pick up my dinner. I bet if I wouldn't have paused the show, I wouldn't have missed much. And Oliver won with a double-handed blow to the throat, which I think he was supposed to have his thumb there to do it, but just more like he just did a double sledge to the throat.
The thumb was gimmicked after all, with another hand.
Oh my God! I can't believe Rip Oliver would do that to the popular Brian Adias.
Yeah, how dare he?
Yeah. After the match, Mike Von Erich ran in to attack the guy who wrestled for most of the last 27 minutes.
Cowardly attack.
Yes. So at this point, there are still 37 minutes left in the show. And I'm saying, like, what the fuck are they going to do for 37 minutes?
The answer is not too much.
No. By the way, did you have anything else you want to say about that three-fall match?
Oh, about 5 minutes into the third fall, I was starting to rethink my life choices, but we got through it.
Yeah. So, by the way, and I think this is the last time I mentioned the commercials. Commercials for Sutherland's, Taco Bell, Texas Rangers Baseball, and State Auto Insurance. Now, Trey, you're a huge baseball fan these days. In 1985, the Texas Rangers played 161 games because I guess there was a player strike that everyone lost the game that year, which is how that happened. But anyway, out of 161 games, how many games do you think the Texas Rangers won?
74 and a half.
You were closer than I thought you would be.
Yeah.
62.
That was absolutely a wild stab in the dark.
Hey, it's the Texas Rangers. They've never really, except for like those years where they'd win it all or at least get to the World Series, they never really had much of a team. So from here, we're going to get a lot of promos. Let's go to the first one with Gino and Chris.
Dynamic duo with us now, American champion, Texas champion.
Tomorrow, D-Day at Texas Stadium, tomorrow afternoon, a very short time from now. You know what I mean by D-Day? The day of the dynamic duo. We're going to get all the money. We're going to get the car. We're going to beat up Kabuki, the mystery man, and that little swine, Sunshine, and Hercules Hernandez, and then the Von Erichs and the Freebirds all in one day.
You know, for those millions of fans of mine out there that are wondering how my head is, it's okay now. It's stitched. It's still stitched up, but it's healing perfectly, and it won't scar my face like I thought it would in the first place, so it's okay. And I'm glad that you're all happy about that. You know, I just don't understand you people. You know what I saw in the ring here last week, Mark?
Oh.
Michael Hayes shaking hands with Fritz Von Erich. You see, you people cheer. You're hypocrites. Because a few months ago, you were booing, you hated Michael Hayes. Like I said last week, you believe anything you see on TV or anything you read in a newspaper, and you make me sick. You know what you are, you people? Blue-collar Americanas. Do you know what that means, Mark?
Yes.
It means people who work for an hourly rate.
9 to 5 low-lifers.
You see, Gino's word for it is 9 to 5 low-lifers. People who work on an hourly rate. people who are trying to climb up the ladder. The only thing is, climbing up the ladder for you people is an extra 50 cents an hour. 50 cents an hour.
Boils down to is what he's trying to say. We don't care if you resent us. We don't care if you don't like us. We don't care if you hate us. What we do know is, though, the Dynamic Duo is the most superior team in professional wrestling, and that includes the Von Erichs, the Freebirds, Hercules Hernandez, and Kabuki, or anybody else. And what it all is all about is the reason you hate us is because you can never be like us. Nobody can be as successful as Chris the Gentleman and gorgeous Gino Hernandez.
All right. Any closing comments before the 12 match?
Just one, that tomorrow in Texas Stadium, Gino and I are going to walk away with 20 grand each, a new car. We're going to beat up Kabuki, beat up Hercules, and we're going to watch as each one of us beats up the Freebirds and the Von Erichs. In other words, we're winners. We are class. So stop following three country bumpkins around who know nothing about life itself and follow class, superiority.
In other words, after tomorrow, we want all of you down on your knees and saying, yes, you, the Dynamic Duo, you are the greatest team of all time. Then we're going to get in our new car with all our money in the trunk, come here Monday night and beat up another team. And then Friday, we're going to take care of business too. In other words, starting tomorrow, it's all Dynamic Duo. D-Day, bad to the bone.
All right. Hernandez.
So, Trey, I got some breaking news for us here.
No.
And I mean, it's 40-year-old breaking news, but it's breaking news.
Oh.
Unless Cage Match is wrong, which is possible, Hercules Hernandez does not make it to the David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. According to Cage Match, his last match of World Class was April 19th, beating Gino Hernandez by a disqualification.
Oh, well, how about that?
Yeah. Let me just reset this to 1985 instead of World Class just to make sure that it's not just them being stupid. No, he's missing. Maybe he got injured in that match because he doesn't wrestle between April 19th and May 8th. And by May 8th, he's in Florida. So, but we see him actually, no, we don't. He does some shots in Mid-South, but he doesn't appear on Mid-South TV again.
No.
Yeah, so Hercules is gone, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what that means for tomorrow. We'll find out next week, I guess.
Can't wait.
Yep. So during all these promos, I decided to do some research here and decided to look up the win-loss record of our favorite manager extraordinaire, James E. Cornette. Now, Trey, I know you're a huge basketball fan. Now, in the recent NBA season, the one that they're currently in the playoffs for, the Golden State Warriors. Now, I don't know how well you're familiar with, the Warriors and the NBA in general, but the Warriors have been one of the better teams for the last 10 to 15 years. They've won, a few NBA titles in that time frame. Pardon me. This year, not one of their better years. They won 37 games this season out of 82. Now, my question to you is, according to Cage Match, again, there could be missing matches or incorrect results, but according to Cage Match, has Jim Cornette in his entire career won more or less matches than the Golden State Warriors won games this year? And it's not a push. It's not, he didn't win 37. It is definitely a more or less situation.
What was the number of wins? 30, was it 37?
Yes, the Warriors won 37 games this year. Did Jim Cornette in his entire career win more or less than 37 matches, according to Cage Match?
I know, he won some of the stuff, like the bunkhouse stampedes, like the manager's bunkhouse stampedes when he was like a baby face for a little while, and But most of the time, he would have been a heel. I'm going to say less.
According to Cage Match, Jim Cornette has won 40 matches in his life.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Now, I know he's had a lot more than 82 matches, so it's not like he's had a better winning percentage than the Warriors. But, yeah. Now, I got to tell you, I'm not playing the Scott Casey promo. He blew his nose and shined his boots with Jim Cornette's coat. How rude of him.
That's very improper behavior.
I'll leave this up to you. It's the last promo, but it's almost 5 minutes long. Do you want to listen to Gary Hart's promo?
Oh. Do you want to? I don't care. It's not like...
I'm all set. It's like at this point, we're just filling time with promos because there's still 40 minutes left on the show. I'm sorry, go ahead.
He thinks that Kevin is going to win the world title tomorrow, and he hates Fritz.
Yes. He thinks Ricky Flair is going to lose, and apparently the one-man gang is going to gain about 40 to 50 pounds. Because even though he's like 450 pounds, he's going to weigh... Pardon me. He's going to weigh 490 to 500 pounds tomorrow for the David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions. I almost said David Manning again. Poor David Manning.
Okay, it's looking like a lot of the matches that Cornette won were like 6-man tags with Cornette and the Midnight Express against Buzz and Brett Sawyer, the Italian Stallion, Buzz and Brett Sawyer, Terry Taylor, teams of that ilk.
Mm-hmm. See, I didn't say he won 40 matches against Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes.
The Mid-South Coliseum, October 17th, 1983. Jim Cornette and Jimmy Hart defeated Bobby Eaton in a handicap match.
I saw that, yeah. So from here, this is the right note. The local commercials are jumping the shark. DML plugs the DVE MPOC. He never did tell us how much the tickets start at, but Trey thinks he said $7.
I think he said $7 at some point.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. We then get we're informed we're going to get an exciting tape of a recent occurrence with Dr. Death Steve Williams where a football helmet came to play. Now, I don't know how exciting the tape itself was, but the actual occurrence I thought was quite exciting. And it ended up just being a tag team match, a tape of a tag team match with Chris Adams and Dr. Death versus Kerry and Kevin. And Chris pinned Kerry after a double clothesline. What did I miss?
The double clothesline that MJF and Adam Cole made famous.
What did I miss, Trey?
I missed it too, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Because Chris Adams pinned Kerry Von Erich after a double clothesline. That was it. That was all I saw anyway. When suddenly, before any post-match angle could occur, David Manning Von Erich got that backwards. Ricky Hazard ran in and reminded David Manning Von Erich that Adams and Doc are not sons of Fritz, so he reversed the decision.
This was a conspiracy of biased referees.
It was. Doc and Chris followed the rules of wrestling. And they got fucked in the end. They got fucked in the ass by Ricky Hazard. And so Doc, was like, fuck this. If you want a disqualification, I'll give you a goddamn disqualification. He put on his helmet and speared Kevin right in the head.
And then dropped several more helmeted headbutts on them.
Yeah. And maybe Ricky Hazard jumped the gun. Maybe that was supposed to happen before he ran out, but that would have made sense because David Manning Von Erich would have been right there to see it and reverse the decision himself. But I don't fucking know.
This was indeed a football helmet incident.
Yes. This was the Fort Worth screw job. Where This explains why Dr. Death is pissed off at the Englishman because somehow he ended up losing this match even though he won. So this is where I then got confused, even more so than the finish of that match. Because after the finish of the match, they told us it was now time for the main event. And we had just seen the TV main event. Well, and by just, I mean we just saw it 30 minutes ago. Because yes, they ate up some clock here.
It was very confusing.
And so out come We Are the Champions,
yes,
my friends. The dynamic duo, Chris Adams and Gino Hernandez, versus Kerry and Mike Von Erich. And hey, Kerry and Mike went into the future and stole Barry Windham's WCW theme, but added lyrics to it. And I'm not talking about the one with Barry Windham where they rhymed the words "fun" with Barry Windham. I'm talking about that other one that he had with Dustin Rhodes as a tag team.
They came out to LaGrange by ZZ Top.
And then, in case that wasn't confusing enough to have our TV main event, a 30-minute intermission, and then the main event, we're told this is the first half of the double main event. And then, in case that wasn't confusing enough, we then just went off the air. 7 minutes early, by the way.
How long did you keep watching after? Because I was very confused.
I watched until like there was, I guess it was a trailer for a Western. I thought it was just.
The fancy dress fucking Western? That looked hilarious.
Yes. I thought that was actually the movie that came on next, but I think it ended up just being a commercial.
Yeah, it was a trailer.
But, yeah. And I got to tell you, I was so confused. I thought I had to watch The New Adventures of Robin Hood so I could get clips of the dynamic duo versus Kevin and Mike. I almost texted that to you, but I'm like, no, I'm going to pop Trey on the show with that.
That was a good reference.
Yes. I still love Barry Windham's theme song that they somehow managed to rhyme fun and Barry Windham.
Yeah.
that WCW Slam Jam album, it was something.
There were several tracks on that I unironically love, including the one you just made me think of. Remember Dustin Rhodes' theme? He's a son of a son and a son of a gun.
Well, he used that song for like 3 years, so yeah.
It's great. Great.
I know. Poor Ricky Steamboat. In case like his world title run being ruined by Bonnie wasn't bad enough. He had to use a theme song very briefly because he did the da 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 theme forever, but very briefly we got I'm not saying that women don't fall all over him, but he don't give in. He's a family man. What the fuck is it? Whatever. But yeah, the Family Man theme song. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Apparently Michael Hayes wrote that.
Oh God.
Yes. Why does Michael Hayes hate Ricky Steamboat so much? I don't know. And then Cactus Jack. My favorite is like Cactus Jack's theme. He's not on a team or a member of a gang. And the best part is he used that while he was the World Tag Team Champions with Kevin Sullivan.
He's Cactus Jack, or better known as Mr. Bang Bang. He had like his indie theme, Being Born to Be Wild, is fantastic, and then that song is great, and then his WWF theme is also iconic. What is it called? Whole Lot of Groove is the name of that production theme.
Really? I did not know that. Oh God. Whatever, I guess. So yeah, this was great, and of course, you've heard Lance Storm sing "A Man Called Sting," right?
Yes.
He's a man called Sting. That man called Sting.
He does this. He does that. He's big as a bull and he's quick as a cat.
Don't double cross him or get in his way, because if you do, you'll have to pay to the man called Sting. Oh Lord, the fact that they got Lance to do that was just tremendous. Okay, I'm looking on the Twitter machine to see if there's anything to mention here. By the way, happy 7-year anniversary to Mikey Ruckus, who does the AEW theme songs.
All right. He's great.
Yes. And apparently John Cena is going to Backlash to make a history-making announcement.
Oh.
Yes.
Is it going to change the face of TNA wrestling forever?
Well, it is in Florida, so maybe he'll show up at the Impact Zone, not realizing they don't do shows there anymore. Oh, God. Yeah. Okay. Do you follow @Doc@CDI on Twitter?
I don't recognize it.
Okay, it's a tremendous page. He does post some good stuff, but he also posts a lot of good jokes. And he just posted one. I once dated a girl with a twin. People asked me how I could tell them apart. It was simple. Jill colored her nails purple, and Bob had a penis.
I've heard variations of that joke before.
Oh God. Apparently, Chad Gable did well on Raw tonight, and Obafemi is beating people up. I don't know exactly who he beat up, but apparently he beat somebody up.
I'm always happy to hear.
That Obafemi beats people up?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep scrolling Twitter forever to find out who Obafemi wrestled. Yeah, I have no fucking idea. Ethan Page was apparently on Raw tonight. I've seen him pop up in my feed 75 times already.
Didn't he debut on the Raw after WrestleMania or something? I thought you told me that.
He debuted recently, and he apparently says he's undefeated and wants an Intercontinental title shot against whoever the Intercontinental Champion is. Who
I guess it's still Penta.
Yes, Penta El Cerro Miedo. Oh, Jesus Christ! Do you want to know who Obafemi took on Raw?
Who was it?
And this is one of those he's still employed kind of things. Otis.
Wow.
He just hoisted Otis up and threw him. He threw Otis. And in case you're curious, Otis did not lose 100 pounds or anything. I just retweeted it in case you want to check it out. Did you see, and this is over the weekend, it came out that the New Day are leaving WWE. And the story going around at the time was that they wanted them to renegotiate their contract and take a pay cut. And apparently, TKO has done this to a lot of the non-tippy top stars, where they're trying to get people to take a 50% pay cut. Did you see that?
Some people have done it.
Apparently, quite a few. Because I mean, I'd like to think that, I guess here's the thing too. A, especially if you're not super confident in your own abilities. But B, it's like, also AEW is oversaturated with talent, so it's not like, okay, well, we're just going to quit and go to AEW. But, like, motherfucker, like, you sign these people to these contracts. And also, there are not enough fucking Brian Pillmans out there. Because Brian Pillman refused to take a pay cut from Bill Watts and decided to become the world's highest paid jobber. And I guess there's the thought that if you don't take the pay cut, they might fire you. But how would that be allowed? There's got to be something here. And I'm not going to get into it, but the current political landscape very much would favor TKO right now. But I can't imagine it'd get much better even, with a different result a couple years ago, to be honest. But ultimately, there's something like you can't fucking do this type of shit. There's dirty pool being played here.
Oh, it's a really scummy company, and people are realize even Vince McMahon. We could talk for hours upon hours about his personal defects, but he had a certain level of integrity about him that this version of WWE just doesn't have. But for my part, look, if I'm Tony Khan and all of these talent are coming available, the three people that I'm calling are Kyrie, because she's like the one person coming out of there who's good enough to hang with their top level women, and Kofi and Xavier. And you know what, the Motor City Machine Guns are great, and I would have been more positive, but the New Day against the Young Bucks has been like an honest to God dream match for a lot of people for like a decade now. So I think and I think that's part of them choosing what they choose. They fucking know they're gonna have a job as soon as they want it.
The Machine Guns, there's a lot of talk they're gonna go to AEW, and I imagine that's probably will end up, but they could end up back in TNA. I mean, it's always a joke, and I mean, it kind of is, where TNA is an extension of WWE at this point. But you know what I found funny? You may not have picked up on this because you don't watch TNA, not even to the lesser degree that I do. A lot of those NXT people they fired were the people who were all over TNA, like Tyreek and that other guy, and those were the guys that they were sending to TNA, and they're the ones that got fired.
It seems like that relationship has kind of fizzled too, hasn't it?
Ish. There's still some crossover, but it's not quite as bad. I really do think, and I know, not Ava, what the fuck's her name? Santino Morella's daughter. She's the Knockouts champion. But I think, pretty much that's the real only crossover at this point. But I think the backlash to that match at Bound for Glory with Leon Slater and Javon Evans that jumped off the fucking page, and then because WWE refused to let their guy do a job, they had to have Dark Slate run in and be a DQ. I think that's when TNA kind of went, okay, there's a lot of bad in with this good in the WWE relationship.
Surprised it took them that long to figure it out. But what are you gonna do?
Hey, it's TNA. Surprised they figured it out.
That's true. That's a fair point.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't even fucking know, because it's again, even if, let's say, because they're obviously not going to make Roman take a pay cut, or Punk or Cody or the tippy top people, but it's if the other 200 people on the roster all decided to walk out tomorrow, where the hell are they going to go? Nowhere. Because Tony Khan is not going to hire 200 people. New Japan doesn't need 200 people. TNA doesn't need 200 people. And yeah, you could split them up, but each company doesn't need 60 more people either.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know. New Japan lost a lot of talent lately, but they seem determined to rebuild from within.
Yeah.
Which I wonder if they're going to take Jeff Cobb back.
Is Jonah still in WWE, or is he one of the cuts?
As far as I know, he's still in WWE.
Bronson Reed. Yeah, I guess he's still in WWE. Okay.
I think he's injured. Didn't he get injured? Didn't he have that surgery?
Yes, he's been in and out of the ER. So he was one that I if he would have been let go, I wasn't going to be sure of, because, and I don't know, maybe I always read too much into it, but he did that G1 where he pinned Okada, and then almost as soon as the G1 ended, he signed with WWE. That seemed okay, you're kind of fucking over. You're biting the hand that feeds you a little bit here.
Okada did get his win back, for the record.
I always forget that part. You've mentioned that, but I always forget it though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying 200 people need to quit, but I guess with MLW is stable, they could hire a bunch of people. there's ways if people out there, NWA just got a comment, not saying that they're stable, but I mean, like, there's things people could do.
Hey, the NWA is a great place for people that you've forgotten about to go wrestle.
Yeah. It's like, literally, if there was ever a time for a wrestlers union, especially if they're really doing this to everybody except the tippy top guys, what better way to say fuck you to the top people and show power than to have a lot of people all joining? Because the New Day are not going to change anything by themselves, you know. But if 100 people all walked out because of that, that would be something. And I'm not advocating 100 people to quit their job. I'm saying that could do something more than 2 people walking out.
Oh. Americans don't stand up to capitalism. We've got Stockholm Syndrome.
No. And, I mean, and ultimately at the end of the day, like, and just to kind of backtrack to the New Day, it was time for them to leave.
It was.
And it's like, I get, like, hey, we watch a lot of territorial wrestling, but like, keep in mind, who the fuck stays in the same company for 18 years?
Mm-hmm.
Kofi Kingston debuted on WWE ECW in January of 2008.
I remember. It was, yeah.
Yeah. Like, it like, and for some reason, I don't know why, and probably because Hogan was like the biggest star in wrestling, you know, Hogan's first run in the WWF was 9 years. 18 years after he won the title from the Iron Sheik was when he returned to the WWF for the first time in a decade. You know,
yeah.
Just to give you context, and think about how much changed between 1984 and 2002.
Like, the lack of movement, but yeah, but so much less fucking changes now.
Yeah, and it's like I blame and don't blame WWE at the same time, because it's not their fault that it took so long for a viable second option to pop up. You know, it really isn't, but still. But
we have gone over
2 hours,
2 hours.
16 minutes. Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't want to play the fucking Gary Hart promo, because we were at 2 hours at that point.
And yet we're still just going on and on about WWE firing people in 2026.
Yeah, I don't even know anymore. All right. Oh, what the hell? Let's wrap it up. So we're gonna be back tomorrow with TNA. We'll be back Thursday with Smoky Mountain. And yeah, that's it. So thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.